Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Mario Cristobal, the Miami Hurricanes, coming out of their bye week, hosting Louisville Friday night. I got a couple of different conversations that I want to get into. Number one, avoiding the upset. And that is just the reality of where Miami is at as a program. Number one, anytime you have that logo on your helmet, you're going to get the best shot of every single team you play, especially when you're the number two team in the country. And we talked about it in the preview and prediction episode. Coach Brom in Louisville, it's a very quality football team that should be undefeated. That should be a top 25 team in the country. That one loss to Virginia, they outgained Virginia by 150 yards. There are certain things I think Miami needs to do to make sure that they avoid the upset Friday night. The number two conversation I want to get into, and I think the more important conversation to talk about, what do we want to see from this team coming out of the bye week, going into the back half of 2025? Because the conversation has shifted around Miami. Back in August, we were talking about Miami as, hey, are they good enough to make the college football playoffs? If we've learned one thing through the first half of the 2025 season, this team is very clearly a college football playoff caliber team. In fact, the conversation around this football team has shifted from college football playoffs. Hey, this team has a chance to put it all together and go compete for a national championship. That being said, when you want to have that conversation, you have to continue to get better as a football team. Just go look at Ohio State in 2024. The reason Ohio State got over the hump, won the national championship in that 2024 year was they continued to get better as a football team as the season went on. That's what you want to see from Miami. And as good as Miami has played in the first half of 2025, I really do think there is some meat left on the bone. I think there are certain areas and certain players that have another level that they can reach in the back half of 2025. And if you want to go win a national championship, we got to get to those levels. Want to talk about a few things I want to see from Miami coming out of the bye week as well. Fired up to get into it. Before we do, and as always, we always start with this. To the Miami fans, appreciate you guys. Many of y'all been rocking with the boys for a couple of years right now. Breaking down the commitments in the summer, breaking down the commitments in the portal in the winter. It's been so fun watching Mario Cristobal build this program to where we see it right now. The amount of support that this fan base has shown the boys has been amazing. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into it. Now, hey, I would like to open it up to the Miami fans as well. If there is one thing you would like to see Miami get better in the back half of 2025, what would it be? Let it fly in the comments section. Now, let's start with this Louisville matchup. A couple of different things I want to talk about. Number one, dominating defensively. This is one of the fundamental reasons why I have so much confidence in Miami in 2025 is that they have so many different abilities to win football games. And I think that really helps when you're trying to avoid those upsets, right? Hey, if this game gets into a shootout, I think Miami has the firepower on offense to go outscore Louisville and beat them in a shootout style game. But I think they are more than capable of dominating defensively in this one in ways they didn't have that ability in 2024. I look at this Louisville offense, and there's a couple of things that would massively concern me if I'm a Louisville fan. Number one, this team does not really run the football, and they don't run the football all that effectively. They throw the football 58% of offensive snaps. It's 13th most in the country. Here's the problem with that. This Louisville offensive line has struggled, specifically in pass protection. They haven't seen a defensive front like Miami all year. So if Louisville wants to go on the road and throw the football 40 plus times in this football game, do they have the ability to hold up in pass protection? I don't know. And quite frankly, I don't think so. Here's where the real concern lies, though. Miller Moss. I think Miller Moss is a very quality quarterback when Miller Moss has a clean pocket and he has time to throw. I think Miller Moss is a damn good quarterback. My problem is going on the road, seeing this kind of defensive front. I don't know if he's going to have all that much time to throw. And the big bugaboo for Miller Moss is he does not avoid pressure all that often. Go back to that Florida State game with Miami's defensive front. Miami was whipping Florida State's offensive line. The problem was Tommy Castellanos is, I mean, say what you want about him as a quarterback. He's really athletic and he's really twitchy and he's really hard to bring down and can get outside the pocket and scramble. He can be a real problem to finish your pass rushes with. Miller Moss ain't that guy. And so if Louisville's going to drop back and throw the football 40 times behind an offensive line that we don't think can block Miami, can Miller Moss get himself out of trouble? I don't think so. If I'm Ruben Bain, I'm Akeem Mesdor, I'm licking my lips here for lack of better terms and saying, I know I can win with my pass rush sets here. And I don't think they have a quarterback that can run away from me. I think Miami has the ability to really sit on this team defensively, create a lot of negative plays, create a lot of problems with what Louisville wants to do on offense. Now, and to me, it starts with the pass rush. The other two things that I think are very important. Number one, you just, and it's that fine line to walk where Miami has been really aggressive on defense and they've been swarming to the football, and it's something that I've absolutely loved, and it's really taken Miami's defense up multiple levels in 2025. I think even the most optimistic Miami fans did not see this version of defense coming in 2025, but at the same time, I mean, Coach Prime is going to have some wrinkles, and he loves to have some trick plays, and he loves to use that aggression against opposing defenses. You want to play with that same fire and aggression that has made Miami's defense so damn good in 2025, but you got to make sure you remain disciplined with your eyes, because you know there will be some trick plays that Coach Prime tries to dial up Friday night. If you can avoid getting got by some of those plays that Coach Prime dials up, think he got a really good chance here. Number two, and this really is another big storyline on offense here, executing in the red zone. And it's been a little bit of a problem for Miami. It's not just the red zone, it's the high red area as well. When Miami gets to the opposing team's 50, when we start kind of marching on our drives, we've stalled out a little bit more than I think Miami and Mario Cristobal would like, especially going back to that Florida game, right? I mean, you go to that Florida game and say, I think Miami was up 13-0 going into half. It probably should have been at least four scores. They dominated for 2.5 quarters when they were driving, getting into the red zone. They were settling for field goals. They were taking some negative plays. I think Miami's offense can move the football against a very quality Louisville defense. But what Louisville has been really, really good at, they're elite in the red zone. I mean, really good in the red zone. And so if you're Miami, hey, you want to make sure if you dominate that first quarter, you want to make sure you're scoring touchdowns and really putting this team away, because there's two different scenarios. One, you dominate the first quarter, you get a couple of drives, you score touchdowns, you're up 17 to nothing going into the second quarter. Or you dominate the first quarter, you're moving the football at will, but you're settling for field goals, you're only up 6-0. If Miami moves the football, you want to make sure you're finishing drives and putting 6 points up on the board against the Louisville defense that's made a living forcing turnovers and keeping teams out of the end zone. More important question here. What do we want to see from Miami going forward? Hey, coming out of the bye week, Miami gets a week to self-scout and say, hey, what are we doing well? What are we not doing well? What do we want to continue to lean into? What do we want to fix? What do we want to add? There's one thing that I want to see a lot more of, and that's Elijah Lofton. I just want to see it get ramped up. I look at it and say, all right, Malachi Tony and CJ Daniels, that is where this passing attack is going to go through. There ain't no question about it. I think you could make the argument that we might be lacking that third pass catcher in this offense, and I think it can be Elijah Lofton. You saw the glimpses of it against Florida State, right? I mean, I'm looking at Elijah Lofton's numbers. He's only gotten 12 targets on the year. He's caught 11 of them for 100 yards, 88 yards after the catch. He's forced 5 missed tackles. And anytime Elijah Lofton is getting involved, it seems like good things are happening. I kind of want to see Elijah Lofton get a little bit more involved coming out of the bye week. We know this kid's a stud. We got to make sure we're going out of our way to get him more involved and get him more touches because good things just seem to be happening. And I'll say this, the other thing is that this is more of a what you're going to see in the playoffs too. We got a problem in the sport of college football, and that's linebackers and coverage. They stink. I mean, there are not a lot of linebackers that really excel in coverage. I'm a Michigan fan. Our linebackers have struggled. Oregon's linebackers have struggled massively. There are not a lot of linebackers that are difference makers in coverages, or in coverage, I should say. When you have tight ends that can capitalize, that can be a massive asset. And I think Elijah Lofton is that kind of dude. So I would love to see Elijah Lofton get a little bit more involved. Here's another thing. More pop in the run game. It's such an efficient run game, and I love it. You know, it's 2nd and 6, and it's 3rd and 2, and we're moving the chains. Miami only has 9 carries that have gone for over 15 yards to start 2025. And I was just kind of looking at some different teams' numbers. Florida State is 27, right? And to be fair, Florida State, a little bit more gimmicky, a little bit more high tempo. So they run the football, they run more plays. I get that. How much more explosive can we get with this Miami rushing attack? And I think Jordan Lyle getting back healthy, I think could be a monster storyline for Miami. But if we're going to run the football as much as Miami wants to run it, I love the efficiency. I don't want to see that efficiency go anywhere. Can we start popping off some more chunk plays on the ground? Would be another massive dynamic for this Miami team going forward. And man, on defense, I tried. I tried to get critical and try to find some. I want to see this defense continue to do what they are doing because I firmly believe this is one of the better defenses that we see in the country. Right? They're grading out like that, and they played some really good offenses too. I mean, go look at Notre Dame. Notre Dame's the top 10 offense in the country. USF can score. Florida State, say what you want about Florida State. That's another really explosive offense. I look at Miami's defense and say we continue to do what we're doing, we're going to be just fine. That's what there are steps, and we'll continue to grade this team out. We'll continue to talk about the good, and we'll address the bad as well. This team's really close, and you can see the bones of a team that can do some real damage in 2025. We just got to keep working towards that final version. All right, we'll close it out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.